We are following breaking news. The Senate, as expected, passed a $1.7 trillion year-long spending bill.
That legislation now advances to the House of Representatives. The massive spending package must be approved by the House and then signed by President Biden by tomorrow to avert a government shutdown. Temporary government funding runs out tomorrow at midnight.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now from Capitol Hill. Scott, this spending bill now has about a day to be approved by the House, then signed by the president to avoid that government shutdown. So what is the likelihood of this actually happening?
Supremely high, and the best indication of that, Dana, is I almost got run over by two senators who were running to the train to run to their cars to then run to a plane to get out of Washington, D.C. Not an exaggeration, not hyperbole. Two of them almost ran me over. So this has gotten through the U.S. Senate, $1.7 trillion, about half of that money for the U.S. Department of Defense and military programs. That proportion was a high priority for Republicans. They wanted at least half of this money to go towards military spending, which they believed to have been too low. There's also tens of billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine. This vote comes about 12 hours after Volodymyr Zelensky spoke here at the Capitol about the importance of foreign aid. There are questions, Lana and Dana, about the possibility this aid could get gummed up next year when Republicans control the U.S. House and have equivocated about the level of aid funding to Ukraine. There's a ban on TikTok on federal government employee phones that would impact tens of thousands of people. They added that to the bill. And there's the Electoral Reform Act, changing how the procedures will work on future January 6th after presidential elections to prevent a recurrence of what happened in 2021 and make it more difficult for any rogue House or senators to gum up the counting and certification of presidential electoral votes. Lots in there. It's passed the Senate, goes to the House next, should be done by tonight.
Hey, Scott, talking about things that gum up the works, today's vote actually happened later than expected, and you were telling us about Senator Lee's poison pill amendment. Tell us how the agreements were eventually reached there.
Yeah, it's interesting, particularly if you enjoy the parliamentary procedures of the Senate. When I mean enjoy, I mean can tolerate the parliamentary procedures of the Senate. Senator Lee of Utah proposed an amendment last night that got things onto a thin wire, a bit of a high wire act. He proposed a continuation of that Title 42 restriction on migrant movements into the United States. If that was included in this bill, it would not have passed the U.S. House, so things got tricky for a while. What Democrats did was put up their own amendment on migrant movements, on Title 42, that they realized would still get votes, but absorb votes away from Lee's amendment so that it doesn't make it into the final bill and be a poison pill. So they found a way to neutralize that amendment, and that's why they voted for final passage a short while ago by a margin we expected, roughly 7-3 margin, to get this bill through the U.S. Senate.
Scott, so glad you did not get run over because there was so much information there that is truly helpful. Thank you.